The Electro Traveler in Genshin Impact is kinda weird. Honestly, he is not that good at all. But in comparison to the Geo Traveler and the Unnamed Traveler, at least he is usable. And honestly, for a free character that is available to every single player, that's good enough for me. A really quick call out is that in the current 2.0 patch, you can only get up to Constellation 3, although I only have C1, but it is the only one that really matters within the free. Constellation 4 and Constellation 6 look really good and will be hopefully available in the next patch for us, which will increase the overall power rating of the Electro Traveler, so do keep that in mind. In addition, there's also more Electro characters that are going to be coming, including both Zara and as well as Leiden Shogun. They're both Electro characters, so it'll be interesting to see how Electro Traveler will take. But for now, I'll have to say, yeah, Electro Traveler is not that good. The Electro Traveler elemental skill will drop these Dorito on the ground, which when you pick up, it will regenerate you 5 energy each, and as well as granting you 20 plus 10% of the Electro Traveler's energy recharge to your active character who picked it up. The problem with the Electro Traveler is that it forces you to play this minigame where you need to pick up stuff on the ground, and it's very unintuitive to do so. So like, oh shit. I can't pick up the... It's stuck inside him! These kind of minigame will very often come in your way and screw up with your plan. For example, on character like Eula, you want to be attacking as much as possible during her elemental burst to build stacks, but by going out of your way and picking up these Dorito on the ground, you're losing potential stacks by not attacking. Do you know that the energy regeneration bonus only lasts for 6 seconds, so as soon as you pick it up, you need to utilize it and battery your main DPS. In some cases, you actually do not get both the energy recharge bonus and the flat energy bonus. For example, on Xiao, you could elemental burst first and then pick up the Dorito, which gives you 15 flat energy, but of course you already casted your elemental skill, you do not get the extra energy recharge bonus. On the other hand, you can first pick up Thumb and then cast your elemental skill, but in this case, because you have max energy, you do not get the 15 energy on the Doritos. Although you could leave them on the ground and then just pick them up later when you're done with your elemental burst, but this also creates another mini game where it's like you cannot walk past this zone. It's another thing you have to be mindful of. When you finally decide to go chase it down and go pick it up, you are losing again potential damage by not attacking. A huge problem is that his elemental skill actually generates no energy at all, which means he actually cannot get his elemental burst back up himself. Notice how little energy I have on my elemental burst on him, even though I have close to 300% energy recharge. This creates an issue where while the Electro Traveler is a battery, you need a battery for that battery, so what is the point? Speaking of his elemental burst, the way it works is that when your active character do a normal or charge attack, it will occasionally do a Thunderstruck Lightning and generate you 1 energy for the current active character. Do know that you need to normal or charge attack. That means for Xiao who do plunge attack, it actually does not work on Xiao. Ultimately, Electro Traveler do not really let you untie your current battery, meaning that for Xiao, you still have to bring Sucrose more or less. For Eula, you still have to bring Leona more or less. For Beidou, you probably should bring Fisher more or less, but it is possible to just run Beidou and Electro Traveler. This creates a situation where the Electro Traveler is not as good as Sucrose anyway, so I might as well just bring Sucrose. And if I'm gonna bring Sucrose, then why do I want to bring Electro Traveler? I can just bring double Geo to get my Xiao to do more damage. It is true that Electro Traveler will allow you to generate your elemental burst very comfortably and on cooldown. For example, my Eula is capable of generating her elemental burst back up in exactly 20 seconds with the help of Electro Traveler. But do you really need that much energy? In this clip here, my Beidou have only 130% ER, but I can still generate my Beidou elemental burst back up in time with just the help of officials. Although it is true that I don't generate it comfortably, but it is enough for me to do it. In this clip, I actually forgot to equip weapon and artifact on my facial and sync shields, so I would have done more damage and thus generated more energy from the HP reduction of the enemy. The issues with the Electro Traveler is that he fundamentally do absolutely no damage since you're building full energy recharge on him. Energy recharge as a whole is a thing that you only get as much as you need and should not be a primary consideration. When you are putting in Electro Traveler in your party, you are essentially losing the opportunity to put a more damaging character into your party, or in simple word, when you put Electro Traveler in your party, you are losing out on a lot of potential damage. And for a game or endgame where it's so DPS heavy focus, where almost every endgame content have you racing against the clock, the trade-off of the damage for the energy recharge, especially when you do not need it, is not really worth. But there are situations where the Electro Traveler is indeed good. For example, in this party, notice how I'm bringing two very energy hungry characters, which is Eula and Beidou. In this case, the Electro Traveler actually does help me regenerate both of their elemental bursts back up, which would normally be very difficult and almost impossible due to both of them being very energy hungry. The Beidou will also generate electro energy, which actually help out the Traveler out by battering the Traveler elemental burst back up. Notice how I'm capable of generating both Eula and Beidou elemental bursts in this clip here. In the future, we are going to get even more electro character like Sara and Raiden, and they might or might not have a big energy cost like Beidou as well, so that is another situation where the Electro Traveler might be very good. The best thing about the Electro Traveler is that it is available to every single player, free to play or even just new player, which could really help you out to draft a better team comp when you do not have many options. For example, let's say you have Xiao, but unfortunately you do not have Sucrose. In this case, Electro Traveler can actually fill in the slot. And yeah, Electro Traveler is not that good and it's not as good as Sucrose, but when you don't have Sucrose, you don't have a choice. With the Beidou being available in the current event, that means every single player, including new player, can potentially draft a Beidou and an Electro Traveler team. And yeah, surely again, Fischl might be the better option, but not every single player have Fischls. The player who joined it yesterday will be missing out on that free Fischl that was given out in the original 1.1 event. So in this case, Electro Traveler is a really good option for them because they do not have other options available. Maybe you want to play Hu Tao Xingqiu's, but your Xingqiu's just doesn't have enough ER to generate his elemental burst backup for Hu Tao. Because maybe you don't have a sacrificial sword, maybe you don't have any option at all. Well, in this case, the Electro Traveler could help you out. And yeah, again, the Electro Traveler is not the best option because you can just put Kaya for melting, you could put another Geo for double Geo, and it'll be much better than putting Electro Traveler in. But that is assuming that your Xingqiu did not have problem, right? If your Xingqiu's had problem, then well, you should try to fix it, and that's what Electro Traveler could do. Since the Electro Traveler is pure utility based, he is surprisingly easy to fit into many teams, and as a option that is available to every single player for free, no matter who you are, honestly, I think that's good enough for me. Now, in terms of building the Traveler Path Sword, if you have 100% of the time, since his kit are revolved around providing energy, the Far Sword does exactly that. But most importantly is that it also provides energy back to himself, which again, his elemental burst is really hard to fund just by his elemental skill since it doesn't generate that much energy. If you don't have Fab Sword, then try to run other sword with the energy recharge subset, so that's going to be either the Sacrificial Sword or the Fasting Desire or potentially a Skyrider Sword, I suppose. But for your artifact, honestly, I recommend just not running any set bonus and just looking for pieces with a lot of energy recharge. For example, on my flower, I have 21% on it. Although you could run the emblem set, which gives you 20% recharge on your 2-piece set bonus right here. And if they happen to have ER, then it's really good. Except for your circlet, then you really want to run a crit rate circlet. Ideally, because you'll be running Fab Sword, so you need to proc a crit in order to get the energy, and so a crit rate circlet is much preferred. If you really want a set bonus, then you could go for the 4-piece Noble set, which gives your entire party a 20% attack boost when you cast your elemental burst. But honestly, it's not really worth trying to farm a set bonus, so unless you have the spare resin, I would not. Ultimately, Electro Traveler gives you a lot of energy for your main character. However, who really need that much energy? At best, you have Eula who need that much energy, but you still need to put the Diona in. And honestly, if you have Eula and Diona, then do you really need the Electro Traveler? Maybe if your Eula is not strong enough. But it is true that Electro Traveler do have a lot of future potential as well, as we unlock more of its constellation, as we get more energy hungry character, especially Electro one, like again maybe Sarah and maybe Ball, which is the Leiden Shogun. And Electro Traveler has shown potential in a party where you have two very energy hungry character and you need to properly battery both of them. In that case, you do need a lot of energy recharge, and that's precisely what Electro Traveler do. So while it is true that the Electro Traveler is not the most optimal character in many of the composition right now, he might potentially in the future have a really good spot for him. When compared to the Anemone and the Geo Traveler, the Electro Traveler is fully utility based. I mean, he's a lot easier to put into many of the existing party. And while it is true that he's not the most optimal character to put into those party, and he might have some playstyle issues, he does open up the option to put him in for a lot of the newer and the free-to-play player who might not have other available option. And I like that. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys be here next time again, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.